Romans chapter 4. What shall we say then that Abraham our father as pertaining to the flesh has found? For if Abraham were justified by works, he has a reason to boast, but not before Yahweh. For what says the Scripture? Abraham believed Yahweh, and it was counted to him for righteousness. Now to him that works is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. But to him that does not work, but believes on him that justifies the wicked, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also described the blessedness of the man unto whom Yahweh imputed righteousness without works, saying, Blessed are they whose transgressions are forgiven, and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh will not impute iniquity. Comes this blessing then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet, being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed to them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had, being yet uncircumcised. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect, because the law works wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed,
was not
to
Abraham,
that only
or
which
to
is of
his
the law,
seed
but
through
to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed, even Yahweh, who quickens the dead, and calls those things which be not as though they were, who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many Gentiles, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of Yahweh through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving honor to Yahweh, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised he was able also to perform. And therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also, to whom it shall be imputed, if we believe on him that raised up Yeshua, our Master, from the dead, who was delivered for our offenses, and was raised again for our justification. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 17. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be you perfect. And I will make my covenant between you and I will multiply you exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made you. And I will make you exceeding fruitful. And I will make nations out of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be an Elohim to you, and to your seed after you. And I will give to you and to your seed after you the land wherein you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim. And Yahweh said to Abram, You shall keep my covenant, therefore, you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised, And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money of any stranger which is not of your seed. He that is born in your house, and he that is bought with your money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man-child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. And Yahweh said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give you a son also of her. Yes, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face, and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born to him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said to Yahweh, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. And Yahweh said, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear to you at this set time in the next year. And he left off talking with him, and Yahweh went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as Yahweh had said to him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. End of chapter.
Micah chapter 4. But in the last days it will come to pass, the mountain of the house of Yahweh will be established in the top of the mountains, and it will be exalted above the hills, and people will flow to it. And many nations will come and say, Come, let's go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law will go forth from Zion, and the word of Yahweh will go forth from Jerusalem. And he will judge amongst many people, and rebuke strong nations far off. And they will beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift up a sword against nation, neither will they learn war any more. But they will set every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and no one will make them afraid. For the mouth of Yahweh of hosts has spoken it. For all people will walk, every one in the name of his El, and we will walk in the name of Yahweh our Elohim, forever and ever. In that day, says Yahweh, I will assemble her who halts, and will gather here her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. And I will make her who halts a remnant, and her that had been thrown afar off a strong nation. And Yahweh will reign over them in Mount Zion from that time forth, even forever. And you, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, to you will it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom will come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Now why do you cry out loud? Is there no king in you? Is your counselor perished? For pangs have taken you like a woman in travail. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now will you go forth out of the city, and you will dwell in the field, and you will go even to Babylon. There will you be delivered. There Yahweh will redeem you from the hand of your enemies. Now also many nations are gathered against you, who say, Let her be defiled, and let our eye look upon Zion. But they do not know the thoughts of Yahweh, neither do they understand his counsel, for he will gather them like the sheaves into the floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hooves brass, and you will beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain to Yahweh, and their substance to the sovereign of the whole earth. End of chapter.
1 Chronicles chapter 7. Now the sons of Issachar, Tola, and Puah, Yashub, and Shimron, 4 of them. And the sons of Tola, Uzi, and Rephaiah, and Yeriel, and Yamai, and Yibsam, and Shemuel, heads of their father's house of Tola, valiant men of might in their generations, whose number in the days of David 22,600. And the sons of Uzi, Izrahiah, and the sons of Izrahiah, Michael, and Obadiah, and Joel, Ishiah, 5, all of them chief men, and with them by their generations, after the house of their fathers, bands of soldiers for war, 36,000, for they had many wives and sons. And their brethren among all the families of Issachar were valiant men of might, reckoned in all by their genealogies 7,080. The sons of Benjamin, Bela, and Becher, Yediael, 3. And the sons of Bela, Esbon, and Uzi, and Uziel, and Yeremoth, and Eri, 5. Heads of the house of their fathers, mighty men of valor, and were reckoned by their genealogies 22,034. And the sons of Becher, Zemira, and Joash, and Eleazar, and Elionai, and Omri, and Yeremoth, and Abiah, and Anathoth, and Elimeth. All these the sons of Becher. And the number of them, after their genealogy, according to their generations, heads of the house of their fathers, mighty men of valor, 20,200. The sons also of Yediael, Bilhan, and the sons of Bilhan, Yeush, and Benjamin, and Ehud, and Hananah, and Zethon, and Tarshish, and Abishahar. All these the sons of Yediael, by the heads of their fathers, mighty men of valor, 17,200, fit to go out for war. Shaphim also, and Hophim, the children of Ir, Hushim, the sons of Aher, the sons of Naphtali, Yaziel, and Guni, and Yezer, and Shallum, the sons of Bilhah. The sons of Manasseh, Ashriel, whom she bore. His concubine, the Aramitess, bore Machir, the father of Gilead, and Machir took to wife the sister of Huphim and Shuphim, whose sister's name was Maacah, and the name of the second was Zelophehad. And Zelophehad had daughters, and Maacah, the wife of Machir, bore a son, and she called his name Peresh, and the name of his brother was Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Rekem. And the sons of Ulam, Bedan. These the sons of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh. And his sister, Hamolecheth, bore Ishod, and Abiezer, and Mahala. And the sons of Shemida were Ahian, and Shechem, and Lehi, and Ainiam. And the sons of Ephraim, Shuthela, and Bered his son, and Tehath his son, and Eladah his son, and Tehath his son, and Zabad his son, and Shuletha his son, and Ezer, and Eliad, whom the men of Gath born in that land killed, because they came down to take away their cattle. And Ephraim their father mourned many days, and his brethren came to comfort him. And when he went into his wife, she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Beriah, because it went evil with his house. And his daughter was Sherah, who built Bethoron, the lower and the upper, and Uzan's Sherah. And Repha was his son, also Resheph, and Tela his son, and Tehan his son, Laadan his son, Amihud his son, Elishama his son, Non his son, Yehoshua his son, and their possessions and habitations, Bethel and the towns of it, and eastward Naaran, and westward Gezer and the towns of it, Shechem also and the towns of it, to Gaza and the towns of it. And by the borders of the children of Manasseh, Beth-shean and her towns, Taanach and her towns, Megiddo and her towns, Dor and her towns. In these dwelt the children of Joseph, the son of Israel. The sons of Asher, Imnah, and Isua, and Ishuai, and Beriah, and Sarah their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Malchiel, who is the father of Beersavith.
And Heber begot Japhlet, and Shomer, and Holtham, and Shua their sister. And the sons of Japhlet, Pasach, and Bimhal, and Ashvath. These are the children of Japhlet. And the sons of Shemer, Ahi, and Roga, Yehuba, and Aram. And the sons of his brother Helem, Zophah, and Imnah, and Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah, Sua, and Harnepher, and Shual, and Beri, and Imrah. Bezer, and Hod, and Shammah, and Shilsha, and Ithran, and Beera. And the sons of Yether, Yephunah, and Pispa, and Era. And the sons of Ulah, Era, and Haniel, and Reziah. All these, the children of Asher, heads of their father's house, choice, mighty men of valor, chief of the princes. And the number throughout the genealogy of them that were able to go to war and to battle, 26,000 men. End of chapter.